Hello, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're doing what might be the best fudge ever, but I'm not sure because I haven't done the taste test yet. So we'll just call it right now the simplest fudge ever because it's pretty much foolproof. As the title of the recipe says, simple ingredients, simple steps, anybody can do this, but you have to stick around to the end for the taste test to see if it tastes as good as it looks, because to me, that looks pretty good. But first, why don't we run through the ingredients and then get into cooking. Chocolate chips, vanilla extract, sweetened condensed milk, room temperature butter. So in a large glass bowl, we're going to mix together the chocolate, the vanilla extract, the sweetened condensed milk, and then also the butter. Now we're going to take that kind of mix of all like the fudge ingredients, put that onto the stovetop on a saucepan that has boiling water in it, and make sure that the glass bowl that you selected fits snugly into that saucepan, because we're going to use the steam from the boiling water to kind of gently melt all of the ingredients together. So kind of continuously stir until the chocolate chips are fully melted. Everything is kind of a silky smooth texture. And then I would say I highly recommend using some form of like oven mitt, heat-proof glove, because the glass bowl will get very hot. Now just remove the fudge from heat, take that over to an 8x8 parchment-lined pan that we're going to have, pour that in there, kind of use a spatula, scrape it all out, and smooth out the surface. This is a step where you can, mix in some add-ins if you want, like I know some people do walnuts in fudge. The recipe calls for, if you have like flaky sea salt, to put some of that on top. I don't have any flaky sea salt, but I do have just normal sea salt. So I'm going to sprinkle that over half of it just to see if there's any noticeable difference in taste from the non-sea salted versus salted. And now just pop that in the fridge for at least 2 hours. Now remove the fudge from the pan, cut it to kind of whatever size pieces you want, and then this can be kept in the fridge for about a month or in the freezer for about 2 months. All right, so here we have it. Let's give it the taste test, see how it stacks up. And then, we'll run from there. We got to do a normal one and then one with salt on it and do a comparison between the two. So both very good because there's not a lot of ingredients in there. It's fairly basic in terms of like flavor. Like it's just very strong, sweet chocolate. But the salt definitely adds a little bit of something, like a kind of, you get that little blast of saltiness within there. And salty sweet for me, like I enjoy that. So if that's your thing, I feel like putting some sea salt on there would be a good move. But if it's not, I feel like going without, just as tasty. So a little personal preference there. Both ways are good. Obviously, it's fairly simple, basic fudge. So it's like not insane. Like maybe I'm being skewed by misremembering how fudge was to me, but fudge was a little bit more like chewy, kind of not gooey, but like you biting through had I guess more like give to it, versus this feels a little bit more, I want to use the word chalky, but that has like, I think way more of a negative connotation than what I want to put on this. It's just like you kind of feel you're biting through it versus it kind of being like a smooth kind of glide through. I don't know if I'm describing this correctly, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. But because it was so simple, I feel like you kind of have to forgive some of those things. Like I haven't looked into more complex fudge recipes, but that might be an interesting, like try one of those, compare this, see if the rate of like effort, if there is a lot more versus like flavor return, if that kind of pays off. Because to me, this is good, but I feel like it could be better. But I guess the question is like, how much effort would it take to be a little bit better versus doing a lot less effort and it being like, almost as good? Once again, hopefully that ramble made sense. Specifically with this though, with the salt on there, it made me think that like salted caramel might be a really good like drizzle that on top. Obviously, it's going to be a lot more sugar and like sweetness, but I feel like that might help with like giving it a little bit like of texture difference, a little bit of complexity and flavor because you have some different things going on. Ooh, or even doing like a peanut butter fudge as well, and like maybe like marbling them together. Obviously, all of these things are making it a lot more complex, and I think this recipe's goal is simplicity, which I think it achieved quite well. Few ingredients that you can quickly pick up from the store, simple enough steps that I feel like everybody should have all of those things on hand. Obviously, if you have an actual double boiler, you're already leagues ahead of everybody else. You don't have to worry about burning your hand and stuff like that. But I will say, if you're trying this, I recommend you trying it. Easy. I think anybody can do it. But be careful with the double boiler. Like, there was a few times when I moved the bowl and like a lot of steam came up on my hand and I could start feeling it, even though I was wearing like a protective glove. So just be careful. Don't, keep your hand in there. Like, if it starts to kind of burn, take a break. It's not going to burn, because that's the beauty of a double boiler, is the amount of heat being applied is very consistent, because it's always just the steam from the water. So it's always that, I want to say 312. I don't know what temperature water boils at, but it's 100 degrees Celsius. We'll just change up the system and then it makes it easier. I don't think I have anything else. Give this a go. Really easy to do. I think anybody can manage it, but be safe about it. I will say, because you're kind of dealing with steam, a little bit of a danger zone. So make sure you have some good hand protection there, and it'll be easy peasy. But on that note, bye, Mom. Still not dead. See you.